here is a list, and Garrett's going to put this up. I saw this. Pat Forty had this on SI.com. Let me explain what this is. These are the most recent schools who have had a chance to win 3 in a row. This does not include some schools that won a national title, did not in the middle, and then won another one the third year, because that would not be technically a three-peat opportunity the third year. Here are some stories. Here are a couple stories about this. First of all, Georgia, we don't know. USC on their way to winning 3 straight until a guy named Vince Young, after Lendell White was stopped on 4th and 1, Texas and Vince Young, we know the story, one of the greatest individual performances of all time in a moment like that, and UT and Mac Brown win it. So that ended their three-peat. In 96, Nebraska lost to Arizona State to start the year and lost to Texas in a Big 12 championship game. That ended their chance. They had won in 93, 94, 95, and 97, but they did not win 3 in a row. In 1980, Alabama had won back-to-back, but lost to 6-3 and 7-0. And Georgia had a kid named Herschel Walker that interrupted their stretch. In 1976, Oklahoma, they had won back-to-back in 73, I think in 74, 75. Tony Dorsett, Pittsburgh ran the table. Oklahoma also was just 9-2-1. 72, Nebraska coming off back-to-back national titles. 9-3, Johnny Rodgers, but not enough. It was Southern Cal. USC went 12-0 to win it with John Robinson. 1971, UT had won it in 69, part of it in 1970. Lost to Notre Dame, Nebraska went 13-0. Texas that year was 9-3. Then there's also Oklahoma in 57 when they had that crazy winning streak, but they had a 7-0 loss to Notre Dame. Notre Dame in 48, they were trying to win 3 in a row, but they lost the opportunity when they tied USC 14 apiece. Army in 1946 had won back-to-back, tied Notre Dame, and did not win the national title. The writers gave that to Notre Dame. And in 1942, Minnesota trying to win 3 in a row twice. But World War II interrupted that season. In the 1943, someone else won the national title. So there's been great players, Herschel Walker, Vince Young, Tony Dorsett, others, and then also teams that were so close, but ties and losses by 3 points or 7 points that interrupted the opportunity to win 3 consecutive national titles. That's how hard it's been. Some really good teams have had that opportunity.
Yeah.
Alabama was the most recent, by the way, and then I think they had Florida State interrupted with 2013.
Yeah. But by the way, Texas and USC, like just comparing Texas ending USC's third one, USC doesn't get 3 in a row because of Vince Young, and Minnesota didn't get a second 3 in a row because of Hitler. Things were different in the 40s.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so there's always something that might get in the way. And although Georgia is heavily favored, there are still some really good teams out there depending. And even last year, remember, they had to avoid the field goal with Ohio State to not lose that semifinal game, but they eventually dominated what they did to TCU in the final.
Yeah, and this is probably the best opportunity to ever have that happen again, because with an expanded playoff, I don't know if that's going to increase the likelihood or decrease the likelihood. I mean, it's hard enough to do that. Clearly no one's done it. But now if you're adding a couple of extra games against the likes of, let's say, any given year, Clemson and, Florida State, then add on the other 2 games that you would play or whatever, and, yeah, the chances of just year after year making it, your Alabamas, your Ohio States are likely to do that, your Michigans, whatever, but to get through the gauntlet that is going to be, maybe it's easier because there's only going to be so many teams cut out for that, but then again, just the grind of it just leaves a lot of wild cards in the air as far as being able to do it and then do it again and then do it again. So that's only a feat that's going to get harder. If Georgia can pull it off this year, that will be rare air and really I think we've already spent a lot of time sitting down and praising Georgia and, what Kirby Smart's built and all of that. But, I mean, that would just be taking it to a level that's unforeseen. That, not even the greats that we talk about have even touched that rarefied air. So for this early in his career and just what already is built there, I mean, that would be pretty scary. So, yeah, that's certainly one of the bigger headlines or storylines, I should say, this year that everybody's, can take note of with some sort of interest is, can Georgia pull off the never-before-seen three-peat?
The ability And like some of it's not even just the guys across you playing a better day than you have, but the ability to withstand the pressure of it builds and builds and builds as you get closer and closer to that third one or the second one. Like when you're trying to win a bunch of games in a row, you all of a sudden as the team, you don't want to be the ones who end this thing.
Right.
You don't want to end it. And so then when you look down the barrel of it happening, when it's about to, I think that's almost what gets you more than just the other guys on the other side that day having a great day, is that you don't have anything left in the tank emotionally, and it just gets you because you're humans and it's really hard. And then now you just point into the fact that nobody outside of the Georgia fan base wants them to win 3 in a row. You know, everybody's going to be rooting against them for the most part. That's that might be the chip on their shoulder this year, but it's still, you're going to be in a lot of hostile environments, and it's just hard to get out of your own head when you move on down the line.
Yeah, it's just hard. There's a reason. 1930, 4, 5, and 6, I think it was, and then Minnesota came back and tried to do it again, interrupted by World War II.
Yeah, before we get corrected, I'm talking about modern era as far as
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I get it.